Hi, and thanks for watching another instructional video for CSEI 1300. In this video, we will cover how to implement an if statement. Imagine a university bookstore has a sale giving an 8% discount on all purchases if the price is less than $128 and a 16% discount if the price is at least $128. We are tasked with writing a program that asks the cashier for the original price and then prints the discounted price back. The first thing I would do would be to identify from the prompt what variables might be needed. Well, it looks like we're going to have a price for an item and that we will also have some discount amount in percentages that will be applied to create a discount price that we need to give back to the cashier to charge the customer. Also note that it looks like the discount amount should be dependent upon the original price. There are two different percentages that we will need to apply depending on what the price of the item actually is. In step 1, we should decide upon the branching condition for the if statement. In this particular problem, the variable price becomes the obvious choice because we realize that the discount amount will be dependent upon whatever price is entered. We should also particularly pay attention to how we set up our branching condition. Do we want to set it up so that the original price is compared to $128 by saying, is the original price less than $128? Or do we want to use inverse logic and say, is the original price at least $128 or greater than or equal to $128? This is up to you, but whichever way you choose, just make sure that your logic is sound. Our next step will be to pseudocode the work that will need to be done when the condition is true. So if we were to apply an 8% discount, we would need to set the discount price equal to 0.92 times the original price of our item. Likewise, in step 3, we would need to do the same thing as if the condition is not true. And if the condition is not true, in this particular example, the discount price would be set to 0.84 of the original price by multiplying it by the original. In step 4, we need to double check the relational operators. So this will go back to the branching condition. We'll need to make sure that it goes in the right direction, depending on what is entered. Does this meet all range of values? And also, we need to consider threshold values. What happens when it is exactly $128? Will it go into the greater than or less than categories? And if so, does it happen in a way where it's not accounted for? In this example, we might need to use a greater than or equal sign or a less than or equal sign in order to get $128 into the correct range. In step 5, we will have to remove duplication. Notice that we have to set the discounted price for both conditions, whether it is greater than or less than or equal to $128. What we can do is we can set the rate to a specific value based on our if condition evaluating to true or our if condition evaluating to false and setting the discount rate in an else block as a result. We then pull the final calculation out of the if-else logic and do it after we have evaluated the if-else condition. So we will only enter into one if or one else from checking the original price versus the amount. So if the price is less than $128, we will set one rate. But if it's not less than $120, if it is greater than or equal to $128, then we will go over our if statement and into our else statement, set a different rate, and then exit, and then calculate our discounted price after the fact. Notice that this is how we do this here in red. In step 6 and step 7, we will test our code and then implement into C++. So we have pseudocode that we've written out. We should go in and we should try some test cases by throwing in some initial values, see what happens in our if statement, see what happens in our else statement, and also make sure that we're covering our threshold value as well, because that would be an edge case that we need to watch out for. In step 7, we will assemble a C++ syntax of the logic that we have written out in our pseudocode. It is a good practice to type in the skeleton of your logic before you actually fill in with information or variables. Notice that in step 7, we have created a blank if followed by a blank else, which is considered to be a code skeleton. There is no actual arguments involved in the parentheses of the if. We don't know what we're checking at. We don't know what will happen inside in the brackets or what will happen in the else. We will then apply our pseudocode logic and fill in the skeleton after the fact. In this particular example, the completed statement would look like this. If the original price is less than $128, then the discount rate will be set to 0.92. If original price is greater than or equal to $128, then our if statement would be false. We would jump over our if statement and enter an else statement directly following it, set the discount rate to a different rate, and then exit our if-else block. Notice that we will only have one discount rate for the two different amounts that we are looking for, whether it is less than 128 or greater than or equal to 128. So we should only have one discount rate when we exit our if-else block. After we do so, we can calculate the discounted price by taking whichever rate came from the if or the else branch and multiplying that by the original price. That's all for if statement logic. Thanks and happy coding.